So today's video is about hiking pole vaulting. I built these not to pole vault over deadfall in the trail. You can try that if you want, but actually to have a hiking pole that has a vault in it. And so I have screw caps on an 1.25" aluminum tubing, and then I have little vessels inside to store things. And it's really a pretty neat idea. You know, they weigh about 17 ounces without anything in them, and I carry less than a pound in each one, and I can hardly tell the difference. They're bulletproof. I'm going to show you how to build them. Stay tuned. And I'm not just here to show off my new Conquo 40 pack. That's a different video. I just got it out of the box today. It fit all my goods, and so far I'm happy with it. It looks like everything it was advertised to be quality wise, so look for that video and keep smiling. I've been trying to come up with a better mousetrap for about a year in the hiking pole department. I use these cheap Amazon Cascade, I think is the brand, poles. I used to be able to buy them for 20 bucks. Now they're 30. The problem for me is I backpack all the time, and so that little tip on there, that little carbide tip, I wear them off in 6 months and they end up looking like that. So I wanted a pole system that would actually be easy to replace a tip on and cheap. The other thing is I wanted more storage, so I use these for, you know, everybody puts Gorilla Tape or some kind of tape on there as storage if you need it for medical or fixing or whatever. But also I put inside the pole, like that's a repair sleeve for my tent, my 9mm tent pole. You can put extra stakes in here in case you lose a stake. You know, on these, the cork handles fall apart pretty fast too. So anyway, I just wanted something that might give me more storage. These things weigh under 11 ounces, even with the tape and my stakes in them. But I didn't want anything that was too much heavier. And I ended up with this so far. This could actually be a forum. Everybody can get on here and try different materials and see what you come up with. But this weighs about a pound without anything in it. The other problem was, okay, so now I've got a storage pole, but how do I get things in and out of it? You know, you just stuff things in here, it's never coming out. And so I played with that for a long time, and I finally came up with this idea. So I have little test tubes with caps on them, the little flat test tubes. I buy these on Amazon too. I'll put all the links to what I use down here if you want to make it. A lot of this stuff you can buy at the hardware, but some of these things, like, you know, the tolerance of this tube in this pipe is very exact. So I had to end up buying like a 28mm outside diameter for it to slip in and out of here. So that's like, you know, extra tie outs for my tent. Carry alcohol for my alcohol stove. And I really made it so I could carry my 9mm tent pole in here. I just had to, you know, fold it twice instead of once to make it thinner, and it slips right in here. If I didn't have that pole in there, each pole would handle 10 of these. So other things, you know, I put first aid in them. I put olive oil. I carry a couple of tubes of olive oil in here. Bug spray, sunscreen. I put a little piece of sponge in the bottom and the top of these things just to keep it from rattling around while I'm hiking. But while you're hiking, you know, you're pounding all the time. You can put whatever you want in these poles, weight-wise. You know, I'm carrying with the pole weight and everything I put in it, you know, each pole weighs less than 2 pounds. And I don't notice any big difference from my other poles. I can tell you some things that won't work because I've tried a lot of things, and I thought I'd kind of hit the holy grail for hauling tortillas on the trail, because tortillas are heavy. I could put a pound of tortillas in each one of these poles, and so they'd slide in and out. I'd just wrap each tortilla in tinfoil. But you're pounding all the time when you're hiking. And I found that just after a few miles, those tortillas get compacted in the pole. They still slide out, but they're just in pieces. So tortillas didn't work. But what did work so far are all these things. So this is a funnel that I use to basically pour my breakfast mix into my 1 liter bottle in the morning without spilling so much. I used to carry a knife and I stopped carrying it, but now I just throw it in my dig tool, which is my cat hole digger, and it slips into the pole. This is like your kitchen drawer, tin foil, needle and thread, just odds and ends that you might need at some point in time. Again, here's shoelaces, rubber bands, olive oil. I carry a couple of these. It's a great place to carry olive oil. These don't leak at all. I've got waterproof matches. Here's my tent stakes. Here's my repair kit for I got extra stakes in there. I've got tenacious tape. I have another pole sleeve repair kit. There's just some first aid I carry. I mean, you can just use your imagination, carry whatever you want. Again, in the other pole I showed you, I had alcohol. I carry a couple of tubes of alcohol for my alcohol stove, and I never carried alcohol stoves, never liked alcohol stoves, but now that I have an easy place to carry the alcohol, and I'm pretty much cold soaking or using tortilla wraps anymore, but I do like my omelets in the morning, and so I just made a cheap little alcohol stove, and it'll boil water in 6 minutes, and a half a tube of this stuff will boil 2 cups in about 6-8 minutes. And so when I carry 2 of them, I've got 4 boils, so I can have 4 omelets on the trail. So the poles help me carry things that I usually wouldn't carry. I gave up carrying a knife a long time ago, but now that I have this storage and I don't have to worry about it hanging off my pack someplace, as seldom as I use it, I just stuff it into my dig tool here. You know, I had to bend that. It's titanium, it's very light, but unlike a lot of those trowels that they sell, that I used to carry one because it fit around my water bottle really good. I just rubber band it there, but it won't dig anything. You know, you have to have some really soft ground to dig with those things. This thing's got serrated edges. If you hit a root, you can really grab a hold of it and really do some digging with this baby. And my knife, again, the knife sits right in there, and it fits right down in the pole. So again, use your imagination of what you want to carry in these poles if you so desire to build one. But let's get to some of the process of building it, some of the problems I had, how I solved them, and maybe save you some time. So I've tried all kinds of materials on these hiking poles. You know, I wanted to keep them light. They're just over a pound, like maybe 17 ounces. That's without anything in them. But they're pretty much bulletproof now, and I kept it as streamlined as I could. Most of the stuff you can buy at Ace Hardware, that little plumbing fitting there, that is actually into the pipe with JB Weld and then riveted around the edge. And so that's not going to come out. But at the threaded part that goes in there, you can take that out with a wrench if you were to wear down that bolt, nut, and lock washer that I've drilled into it. And for 16 cents, you can replace the tip. You can make it longer if you want. Of course, they're unlike these. They won't telescope. You know, I got the 48-inch because I just got a Durston Kakwa 40 pack today, and I'm very impressed with it. And I'll probably buy Durston's tent also, the X-Mid one-person tent. And that will need about 48 inches, which is how this tubing comes on Amazon. And if I need to lower it at all, I've got my dig tool in here. I'll just dig a cat hole and put it a little lower. But the other problem is, you know, when I fly, I really can't drop these down. So usually I'll take a duffel that I'll put my pack in and check my bags. And so I'll have to get a duffel that'll carry this, because they are not letting me on the plane with these babies. Anyway, so again, this is just bare hanging rope. You could untie it, you know, clothesline. I seldom hang my food unless I'm in grizzly country, so I'm probably not going to take that off just for the night. If I do, I'll leave it off, or I'll just, in grizzly country, which is 3 or 4 times a year, I'll just carry another line. But I needed something to grip. And tying that on there, it's a simple tie. It's not going anywhere, but just to be sure, because I always carry Gorilla Tape anyway, I put a bunch around here so I've got something to use, but it also holds that in place. On the top, I tried all kinds of things. I tried these, which really looked nice, these furniture leg protectors, the little snap-on. They popped right in there, and they wouldn't stay though. Hey, you know, the tubes that I put in here to carry things are like pistons in an engine, and they'll come up and hit that and knock it off. You drop your pole, they'll come off. I even tried to go deeper with a broom clip on them, but still there's enough force. You know, poles get a real beating. There's enough force to knock it off. So what I finally came up with was just a vitamin jar. And all I want out that vitamin jar, you can see I've cut it, is threads. And those threads fit nice and tight right on this 1¼ aluminum pipe. And then I JB welded it on there. And then the cap screws on. It's not going anywhere. It's easy off. I've beat the heck out of these plastic caps, and I haven't broke one yet, but if I did, you could, you know, these are pretty much universal threads. You could put a metal cap on there. The end, again, you know, I just tried to JB Weld. I love JB Weld, but it's only going to take so much abuse, so I did rivet 3 times through, drill into the pipe, into the fitting, and rivet it, besides JB welding it. And I don't want it to come off on the trail. I'm going to do 200 miles of the North Country Trail next week to try out my new Kakwa 40 pack and these poles, and see if they'll take the abuse of a couple hundred miles. You can save weight by not putting stickers all over it like I did. I had all these stickers from places I've hiked, the long trails I've done, so I put them on there for a little decor. And today, when I got my pack, it's around here someplace, I got a Durston sticker, so guess where that's going. Anyway, I'll link everything that I bought on Amazon, which is basically the tube. I'll tell you what the fitting, the plumbing fitting is. And these tubes you can get on Amazon. If you can find something you like better, just make sure it's 28 millimeters. That's kind of the perfect size to slide into these inside diameter of these poles. And if you want to make a double like this, you want a longer one, instead of buying another 30 tubes, I just took a cap, drilled it out, then I cut the threads off one of the tubes, put this cap down in there, JB welded it in there, and then you got the threads to hook the other one on. So you get a double tube that way. And it is really slick. You know, it's you can think of a ton of things to carry in here. Take the real estate you've saved in your pack and get a smaller pack like I did. Again, you know, this is 17 ounces. I put less than a pound of stuff in each one of them, and I hardly notice. I've done 100 miles with these things, and I hardly notice any difference. And they'll take, like I say, a ton of abuse. And once you build a set, which probably, I think the tubing was like 20 bucks. The fittings, I mean, so 2 tubes and fittings, you're going to have 60 bucks probably in this whole thing. And you may even have better ideas and find some more recycled stuff that'll work for you. But anyway, it's something that I think a lot of people would be interested in. Give it a shot. Let me know. Keep smiling.